What's up everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com and I'm here to fill in for Adam Pacitti, who is away today on official Cultaholic business. Very exciting. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but you'll find out in due course. Disclaimer, he's not setting up his own wrestling promotion. What a stupid idea that would be. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. We know, of course, by the title that this is an episode of Graded, which means that we're going to be looking at SmackDown Live from last night and grading each and every segment and match and promo and that sort of thing. And in the end, we'll reach a lovely conclusion. So let's go. It's the go-home show for Hell in a Cell. This is SmackDown Live Graded. Now obviously I usually review Raw, and reviewing SmackDown this week was really refreshing for me because we didn't get a big convoluted opening segment with every heel member of the locker room being decimated by the Shield, or a big pull-apart brawl, or a 20-minute promo where we recap the last month of action. No, we got Jeff Hardy coming out to talk about his feud with Randy Orton, and yeah, he dressed it up with some colourful metaphors and stuff, but it didn't last for too long. Then we got straight into a match, and I was like, what? It's so simple when you think about it. Jeff said that demons are all around us, but sometimes they're physical demons and sometimes you have to face them head on and stuff like that. He was alluding to Randy Orton, of course, who he is currently feuding with and has a Hell in a Cell match with at Hell in a Cell. Don't die, Jeff. Please don't die, mate. Don't do anything stupid. He said that while Randy is a demon, he is a daredevil. And to be honest, for my money, that doesn't make his chances of success in Hell in a Cell very good, because I think I'd rather be a demon in Hell in a Cell than a daredevil. It's just too many things to jump off and fall through. It's just, I actually want to be a coward rather than a daredevil in Hell in a Cell. I'd want to be ultra cautious. I'm going to give this opening segment a B-, which sounds a little bit harsh, but I've never found Jeff the best promo in the world, certainly not compared to his brother Matt, obviously. But it was still short, to the point, simple, and got SmackDown off to a decent start, and we got straight into a match. So I think B- is fair, because it wasn't the strongest promo, but it did its job very effectively. So then we had the first match of the night, a non-title match between Jeff Hardy and the United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura. This was a back and forth affair, and I was enjoying it pretty well until the finish came, and it wasn't actually a clean finish for either guy. Randy Orton came out and shoved Jeff Hardy off the top rope onto the ropes. His cock and balls landed right on the ropes. I thought I could see where this was going when Randy Orton dragged Jeff Hardy out the ring and started just battering his head into the steel steps, but then Jeff Hardy actually fought back, got a steel chair and clocked Randy Orton with it a few times and actually won the exchange with a swanton bomb. So yeah, I'm going to give this whole thing, the match and the post-match segment, a B. I thought it was a decent match, nice back and forth action, and I thought the aftermath, although initially predictable, actually turned things around and Jeff Hardy got the win. A little bit worried because obviously there's that old superstition that whoever comes out on top on the go-home show on TV will then lose at the pay-per-view, and obviously Jeff Hardy came out on top and may well die at Hell in a Cell. I'm really scared for him, legitimately quite terrified. The only negative really for me that prevented this from getting a B+ or maybe even an A- is the fact that Shinsuke Nakamura is a sideshow in someone else's feud, and he's the US champion as well, but hopefully he gets something more to get his teeth into in the near future. Next up, we had a pre-recorded promo segment from AJ Styles in an empty arena before everyone came in before the show. I love empty arena segments because I find them a bit unintentionally hilarious, to be honest. It looks like no one's turned up to listen to what he's got to say. But when the promo actually started and I managed to focus on AJ himself and not the funny surroundings, that was so simple. Just, oh look, there's loads of seats and people are meant to be in them, but they're not. Easily pleased. But when AJ Styles actually got into the promo and I started concentrating on him, he was actually doing really well. AJ is one of the most improved promo guys over the course of his career, I think I can remember. He was really ropey at the start, I think, and then in New Japan just took off and now is actually very, very competent on the microphone. He said that Samoa Joe's strength is his trash talk and getting under his opponent's skin, whereas AJ Styles' strength is the fact that when the bell rings, there's nobody better than he, AJ Styles. He's the phenomenal one. All makes sense. I'm going to give it a B+ because I thought AJ delivered it well, and I thought, as funny as I find the empty arena surroundings, it did actually add a little bit of seriousness and gravitas to a very intense feud. Next up, another non-title match between the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville. Now, I don't know what happened to the storyline where Paige was trying to stop her old Absolution friends from teaming together, but Mandy Rose was ringside with Sonya Deville, so I guess she's just started to let it slide. Where did that story go? This was a decent match. It was a little bit sloppy Joe in places, but at the same time, it's like Samoa Joe's tag partner, but he's made of hot dog meat. And I've really tickled myself there. And I hope you enjoyed the joke as well. The match was a little bit sloppy Joe in places, but you know, the two don't really have the best chemistry together. But despite that, they still managed to piece together a pretty decent match. Sonya Deville actually got in a decent amount of offense as well before she tapped out to the figure 8. Little criticism here from me. I would rather, I think, that Charlotte had won this match by pinfall after hitting the natural selection, because I think, you know, we all are meant to pay attention to Sonya Deville's MMA background, and to me, that should mean that she's a more legitimate threat on the canvas. I don't actually know which aspect of MMA Sonya Deville's good at. Maybe she's a kickboxer, maybe it's not something to do with like jiu-jitsu or ground game, but at the same time, I just think this was one of the ones where Charlotte should have won with natural selection. I'm being really nitpicky here, I'm being a little bit too harsh. This was originally going to get a B, but I'm going to give it a B+ because of what happened after the match. So when Charlotte left and was high-fiving fans in the front row, taking selfies and stuff, a mysterious brunette grabbed her from behind and started to beat her up. Of course, it wasn't a mysterious brunette at all, it was an unmysterious redhead. It was Becky Lynch. She pulled the wig off. Here I am, Becky Lynch, jumped the guardrail and beat the hell out of Charlotte Flair, while the crowd obviously, you know, in WWE's eyes, hopefully we're gonna go, boo, you mean sneak attacking person? But instead they were like, oh my god, it's Becky Lynch, yeah, get her. There was a guy behind Becky Lynch when she did the wig reveal who just went, let's go. He was like so hyped, and so was I. So this gets a B+. Becky's a babyface, guys. We all know it now. Come on, just let her be great. Let her win. Let her win on Sunday, please. Next up, we had another backstage promo segment, this time with Samoa Joe. And like AJ Styles's with the empty arena, this one was also very hilarious, but Samoa Joe made it creepy as hell as well. So Joe was reading from a storybook, or like a children's bedtime book, that he'd apparently written and designed himself, or commissioned somebody to do for him. But I like the thought of him just painstakingly spending the last few weeks just slaving away over those illustrations. It was quite beautiful, really, apart from the last page, which we'll get to. Joe, you know, told the story. It was all in lovely rhyming couplets and everything about, oh, here's a man called AJ Styles. I'm gonna beat him and leave him in a pile. It was better than that. So he told the story, and it was very disturbing, as we'd expect from Samoa Joe. And then the last page was just, like the message of the last page was like, take you to hell, and I'm gonna win your belt, or something like that. And then the illustration was AJ's wife and daughter next to beaming a very happy Samoa Joe with the WWE Championship. It was really, really quite disturbing. I'm gonna give this an A. Samoa Joe is one of the best promos in the game right now, and it was preposterous. It was such a stupid concept, but he made it work. And yeah, not much more to say about that. Gets an A. Next up, the #1 contender match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, currently held by The New Day, who came out for guest commentary. This saw The Bar take on Rusev Day. Decent impression. 7 out of 10. So yeah, this was a good back and forth tag team match, and honestly had a really good story as well, with Aiden English taking the bullet for Rusev towards the end of the match. He shoved Rusev out of the way and took a brogue kick from Sheamus right in the chinny chin chin, and then Rusev came back, clocked Sheamus with the Machka kick and pinned him, and now Rusev Day are the #1 contenders, and I'm so scared. Like I am for Jeff Hardy, I'm so scared that it's all going to go wrong for Rusev Day at Hell in a Cell, and that Aiden English is going to mess things up somehow, and Rusev's going to batter him. But no, this was a good match. New Day were hilarious on commentary as per usual, and I have no major complaints. I'm sad, I guess, not to see The Bar get a title shot, but I'm more excited to see Rusev Day get one than I would have been The Bar for now. So it balances itself out. I'm going to give this an A-. Good match, good story, good action, good commentary, good. Next up, we had Andrade, Cien, Almas versus RTruth. Accompanying Almas was, of course, Zelina Vega, who, by the way, on YouTube, I think WWE's official YouTube page, had a video where she talked about losing her father in 9/11. It was very emotional and very moving, and a great little video, really, really good stuff. A lovely tribute to her dad and the effects of 9/11 on generally on Americans as a whole. I really thought it was great. Also, RTruth was with Carmella because they're the new sort of wacky kind of tag team in the mix. So this was an exciting match I was looking forward to, because I think that Almas is on fire all the time. He's great, and RTruth is a physical freak. Like, to do things at his age that he does with such athleticism is just stupid and offensive sometimes, honestly. So the pair were having a great match. Almas's offense is so crisp. Everything he does looks amazing. It's so fresh. It feels really fresh, especially on the main roster. But then RTruth was fighting his way back into it. Almas hit the Tranquilo pose. Vega did her Tranquilo pose underneath him on the apron. And then Carmella was like, no, that's too much, mate. Get off the apron now. And I thought, is that a justified run-in? I guess that Vega's got into the ring where she's not meant to be. But Carmella's like, you look too cool. Get out of there right now. Almas picked up the win despite Vega being taken out with a roll-up, with the tights, I think, as well, although the camera didn't quite catch it first time around. And he and Vega celebrated up the ramp. I'm going to give this a B. It was very short, but it was very entertaining anyway. Not much more to say about it, really. No further thoughts. And finally, the main event of the evening, Brie Bella versus Maryse. So obviously Brie Bella hasn't been on the best of form recently after those dives last week on Monday Night Raw, which went viral for all the wrong reasons. Credit to SmackDown, they protected Brie a little bit more in this match. So basically what happened was every time Maryse went to lock up with Brie, she'd fake her out and roll out the ring, and Brie would be so annoyed inside the ring. Maryse would be like hiding behind her husband on the outside and stuff. And then Brie, like a house show, grabbed a microphone and went, "I always knew you were a coward. Subscribe to my YouTube channel." No, she didn't say that last line. Miz then took a microphone and said, "She's not a coward. You know what? You're looking at a two-time former Divas champion." I was like, you know, that's fair. That's fair play. Big up your wife's accomplishments and all that. And then Miz said, "This main event is over." And they started to leave. And I thought, this is clever. Where's this going? I'm enjoying that there's not actually going to be a match, considering the risk of it being not a very good match. But then Brie, you know what? Credit to her. Followed Maryse up the ramp, grabbed her hair, dragged her back to the ring, and the match resumed. And I was a bit like, oh no, it's all gonna go wrong. So the action was back in the ring now, and then on the outside, Miz distracted Brie, leading to a near fall for Maryse, but Brie kicked out. And then Brie got the yes lock on Maryse, and Miz just had enough and just pulled her out of the ring. And then Daniel Bryan immediately attacked him because he laid his hands on his wife, of course. Miz and Bryan then started fighting inside the ring, and Miz sort of looped Bryan, like yanked him out, like just chucked him out the ring is what I'm trying to say. He threw him outside the ring, and Bryan accidentally hit Brie, who took a nice bump, by the way, on that. She kind of caught her husband and fell at the same time, which was pretty decent. Then it all broke down a bit further. The heels looked like they were going to come out on top, but then Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella actually came out on top, and that basically was the end of SmackDown, with Miz and Maryse on the ramp going, "Grr, we'll get you next time," and Brie and Bryan in the ring going, "Yes, we're the winners, we're the best." So I'm going to give this a C+, the lowest thing on the show, I'm afraid, but at the same time, it not nearly as bad as it could have been. I thought the action was generally quite sloppy, but, you know, they did the best with what they could do. Both women tried really hard. Bryan and Miz were great on the outside, and the intensity was there for everyone to see. So as much as I disagree with putting Brie and Maryse in a match together, I thought they did as well as they could have done, C+. So what are we going to grade SmackDown overall? Well, I've given this some thought, and I think I'm going to give it a solid B. Not a B+ or a B-, just a straight B down the middle. I think it was a good show, a strong show, better than Raw, you know, which is to be expected now from SmackDown, who are beating Raw most weeks. But at the same time, I thought it could have been stronger. But for a go-home show for Hell in a Cell, it continued some storylines, built some hype for various matches, and I have no major complaints. I think a B is a solid effort. Good job, SmackDown. Can't wait for their portions of Hell in a Cell. Excellent. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Adam Pacitti will be back in due course. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com, your teacher. And if you want to, as teachers often do, I'm going to plug you my Twitter. You can follow me at Jack the Jobber if you wish. Follow all of us at Cultaholic. And if you want to as well, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never forget, of course, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button and to join us.